For fun, I'll show you this whole set of the Book of Mormon that I found one time, all 70 sides on golden vinyl or yellow vinyl. Not sure what I'm going to do with those. Okay, very briefly, books. It's great to educate yourself in all kinds of ways about the records because it's such a huge world. But I've found that if someone local to your area has written about the groups that made it, the little groups that didn't, try to get that book or read up about it, and you'll find stuff at tag sales locally that you won't find anywhere else. Really cool bits of cultural production that are probably quite rare and that are worth preserving. Along those lines, two great books, Nick Tosches and Richie Unterberger, for educating yourself about those people who were influential but never really made it. And you'll run across their records. A lot of them had one record, maybe two records. You don't want to miss them if you ever hit them at a tag sale. So you'll remember those names when you read those books. You can find books on every genre, every speed, every type of record. This is a really good one on 45s. And these are two general ones on all kinds of genres that I highly recommend. I hope you have time to see the titles and the authors. This one's great because it also talks about even other genres other than records. But I just want to say too that I think records are really cultural artifacts, and the wide variety of stuff that was recorded is endless. I've been collecting for 35 odd years, and it never ceases to amaze me. The stuff I find that was put on shellac or vinyl is kind of endless, and they're cultural artifacts that often go to the dump, but they're worth preserving. A lot of them. A lot of it's not. But so lastly, just a few other genres and things to watch for and not to miss. I love some of the gospel music in Hawaiian. I love these two guys, Lauren Whitney and Bud Tutmark. They put out this combination of pipe organ and Hawaiian guitar. You can't miss that. Often I find Hawaiian music or quote-unquote exotic music is on red vinyl. Instructional records, these are learning how to speak effectively. They're on colored vinyl. Film strip records, often also just pull them out. They're on colored vinyl. Some poetry records or spoken word. This is a great set of T.S. Eliot, but this was put out by the Library of Congress, and they're all on beautiful red vinyl. Great content. Again, along the line of instructional records, pull them out. This was a really weird series of how to learn and listening to records while you're sleeping, and you could learn all kinds of things. I'm afraid the theory was misapplied and didn't really work, but the guy put out a ton of records. Cheap reissues like these on Sun are often on colored vinyl. Here's a Duane Eddy on pink vinyl. Alt music, punk, all kinds of alt music comes out on all kinds of colors of vinyl and swirly vinyl these days. But some of the older stuff was on colored vinyl as well. The record companies put out these sort of preview records that I guess you could buy at record stores, and this one was put out by Columbia called the Record Rater, so you could listen to the record and rate the songs, mail it back in. They're always white label promos put out by Columbia. Some of the compilations are often on different colored vinyl. Here in Connecticut, this radio station called WPOP put out some cool compilations. This is one of my favorite. I found a few of these over there. This gorgeous, hope you can see that, gorgeous vinyl. And it's just a lot of different cuts of popular rock and roll. If you see this label in a box and it says vertical recording, you won't be able to play it without a special kind of record player. But these are 78s on vinyl, or they're 33s on vinyl, and they're on this dark red vinyl often. So keep an eye out for those. Again, instructional records and kind of gospel records. If you see packages of whole lessons, take a look. Sometimes they're on colored vinyl, or your local high school or band does a one-off, often on colored vinyl. And here's a funny category, Chinese bootlegs. Usually, actually, they're on colored vinyl. This one's unusual because it's not. But more often than not, you find them at the thrift store, and they're on these crazy colors with very funny typos. So keep an eye out for those. Now, quickly, I want to talk about Cook Labs because these are gems. This is gold you don't want to miss if you see it in a box of records. So Cook put out his own kind of vinyl. This is his catalog, and the Smithsonian has about 200 of his records, and there are more. I found quite a few more. But if you see Cook or Cook Labs or this new microfusion process on a record, pull it out. You won't believe the colors you're going to find with Cook, because he made his own form of vinyl that was more of a powder, and it was mixed with dyes, and it produced unpredictable results. So I never know when I find a Cook Labs record what it's going to look like. The music's okay. His other recordings I like. He did actually record some good blues and some good jazz, but his unusual field recordings, this one is one of my favorites. It's a train and a mountain pass on a rainy night in upstate New York or something, and it's just a great record, and it's such beautiful. Some are on regular old plain black vinyl, but some came out on this amber splatter. He also recorded a lot of what we would call island music or calypso, and he actually had a pressing plant in the West Indies. So again, you never know when you find a Cook Labs record. This is a great record. He recorded thunder, wind, rain. He actually recorded earthquakes, sounds of the ionosphere. It's crazy, the stuff he recorded. But here's a beautiful purple kind of splatter, I don't know what, that I found. I have a couple hundred of these, and they're not just local to Connecticut. He was from Connecticut. His pressing plant was in Connecticut, but I have found these all over the country in thrift stores. So keep a sharp eye out for Cook Labs. You just won't believe what you find when you pull out a Cook Labs record. Hold it up to the light. Here is actually one of his rarer records. It's also on amber, but it has the 2 tracks of his own form of stereo, which he called binaural. So you had a special tone arm with 2 heads, 2 cartridges in the exact same track for the right speaker and for the left speaker. So I can't go into Cook Labs now, but his records are always fun. He actually recorded on the side. People would send him tapes. He would press a record for them, and they're sometimes these crazy colors like dark gray or dark purple, and not always from Connecticut. I found records from other parts of the country on Cook Labs. So if you find a weird record and you just look in the Lost Wax and you see CO, it's one of Cook's records, and there's telltale signs. His labels didn't always press correctly, and some of the powder shows that it was actually a kind of more of a cold fusion process. It's too hard to explain, but the colors that came out, as you can see, are really crazy. Even, or just as crazy in a different way, are Bel Canto records. Here's a little catalog of Bel Canto. They put out about 15 records. A lot of tapes, and even some 45s. Their stereo demonstration record is really great. Often they're all different kinds of colored vinyl. So I've found a number of these. Just pull them out when you see these in a box. Bel Canto. Look for that label and that symbol. And again, they're all different because they would put the not the pellets, but the pucks in, and they would melt together in different ways, so you always get really cool looking records. Almost lastly, if you have some favorite records and you see again, oh, I don't want another copy of that, just look on the back. And I found that looking on the back, quite a few times I've found that it says something like demonstration, not for sale. So it may be a white label promo, or in this case it's a 6i Columbia. First pressing, I mean pre-first pressing, promo only. Great sound, great record. And again, here's another example. A record I already had. I usually flip it over, leave it for someone else. Sometimes I look on the back and I see, oh, it says DJ Copies. What's that? So you look, and boom, bingo, you find a gorgeous record, white label promo. The DJs wanted to draw attention to it. So that's in a nutshell very quickly. I hope that this helps you, whether you're a novice collector or a very experienced collector. I hope you have fun finding the range of stuff that's out there, and that you collect it and preserve it for posterity. They are cultural artifacts, and that's why I love this whole world of record collecting. You never know what you're going to find. And I hope that you as well will contribute to the record collecting community with your little secrets or tips, and we can all learn from each other. So look forward to my next video, which will be on one-sided records, and that'll be in a few more weeks. So thanks for joining me. See you next time.